Now, there is no doubt about it that the sequel trilogy had a lot of ups and downs, especially with The Force Awakens leading into The Last Jedi, because Episode 7 was truly the gateway to possibilities. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that, yes, we do know that throughout the years, Kathleen Kennedy, as I like to call her, Darthleen Kennedy, has been nothing more than a force of destruction. We saw and witnessed exactly what she did with The Force Awakens. You know, she prevented Luke from having a lot of screen time in that movie. That's actually a thing. Originally, they wanted a lot of Luke sequences in the film. Kathleen Kennedy prevented that. Then, of course, after that, you know, a lot of fans were very much interested in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And we could have had a lot more Darth Vader in the film, but Kathleen Kennedy also prevented that. Jump ahead to The Last Jedi, also issues, and of course, especially with The Rise of Skywalker, also issues. Now, the thing about the character of Rey, and specifically the concept of Rey Skywalker, this is the very thing that a lot of fans did not like in Episode 9, and there's definitely not a lot of debate within this. A lot of Star Wars fans did not like the concept of Rey Skywalker. Now, sure, there's a lot of casual fans out there that I personally know that loved the Rey Skywalker concept. They thought it was brilliant, they thought it was amazing. I heavily disagreed, and they just could not understand as to why I disagreed and disliked that. Now, obviously Daisy Ridley, she's talked about this before in the past, is that J.J. Abrams went back and forth, time and time again, with Rey Skywalker and just the concept of Rey, right? Her lineage. They went from Rey Nobody to borrowing Rey Solana from, by the way, that's Colin Trevorrow's concept, all the way over to Rey Kenobi, and then eventually just choosing Rey Palpatine. Then they chose Rey Skywalker at the very end in order to balance it out. That was JJ's way of doing both, and it just did not work for a lot of fans. So, what's really interesting all has to do with Jon Favreau now, and what's going on with Daisy Ridley. So now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are focused on their new universe, such as TV shows like Ahsoka and Kenobi, that are currently in development, it's noted that creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are developing and are hard at work on other projects as well, that are set to expand the franchise like never before. However, it's noted that Jon Favreau is on a mission to make major changes to the sequel trilogy movies with the concept of Rey Skywalker, and ending that concept as we know it, that is set to go in effect in the Disney canon as early as 2023. Now, it's described that Favreau's plan to end the concept of Rey Skywalker as we know it is described to involve rewriting many aspects of the canon for Episode 9 that is set to involve Ben Solo's spirit becoming one with Rey at the very end of the film, that is set to take over her Palpatine bloodline, where she is actually set to become a literal Skywalker in a sense, hence why you do not see a Ben Solo Force Ghost at the end of the film. Jon Favreau wants to end the lazy concept of Rey just calling herself Rey Skywalker just because, and wants to create a legitimate reason as to why she calls herself that. Now, the plan that Ben Solo will guide Rey through the Force as they become one by Jon Favreau is actually set to have children in a planned Rise of Skywalker sequel series, and are set to have, of course, children in multiple episodes for that series that is planned for 2023 or 24. Favreau is also set to give Rey Skywalker a brand new design and even a brand new double-bladed lightsaber that will be used in the new comics, books, and more, and even the planned animated show that will include lifelike animation. On top of this, alright, this is actually described to be the more important element, however, that Daisy Ridley will be replaced as Rey Skywalker in the planned sequel series, where Lucasfilm has chosen Keira Knightley to lend her voice-over work and facial scans to portray the character of Rey in an animated form. Now, it's noted that Daisy Ridley was replaced as Rey Skywalker in this untitled animated sequel series to Episode 9, since Daisy wants nothing to do with Star Wars anymore, since she herself had issues with Kathleen Kennedy and how it caused her to lose many blockbuster roles in Hollywood, and is so far only getting more minor and smaller roles in films because of Star Wars. Now, this replacement by Keira Knightley was a call made by Disney CEO Bob Chapek, given, of course, Knightley is very similar to Daisy Ridley in appearance and holds a strikingly similar voice. Now, here's the very interesting thing about all of this. Now, we talked about this briefly a couple of months ago, you guys may recall, of how Daisy was getting replaced as Rey Skywalker, and here we have it, Keira Knightley, replacing Daisy Ridley as Rey. In animated form, I want to make that clear. This is not live action, this is animated. But even more important is that this type of animation is going to be lifelike animation. What do I mean by that? Well, essentially what this means is that you're going to see animation very similar to what video game cutscenes are like, such as cutscenes from the Old Republic era, or even, of course, cutscenes from like the Battlefront video games, something around those lines. So obviously that's a big step up from what we have in shows like Rebels and The Bad Batch and the Clone Wars and stuff around those lines. This is going to be completely different. This is going to be a different take on Star Wars, different type of animation. And I gotta say, it's been long overdue to have an animated Star Wars show that's kind of detaching from the cartoony animation style. I like the cartoony animation style, don't get me wrong, I like that. It's kind of just fun to watch something and not take it too seriously. But this is a different type of scenario. This is definitely a bridge between animation and live action. That's their approach. They want to create this different type of angle to Star Wars that's a bridge between animation and live action. And you know what? I gotta give them at least a little bit of credit because that's something different and something I'm worth checking out. Now, mind you, Jon Favreau also ending the concept of Rey Skywalker, I think, is a better idea than what J.J. Abrams came up with. It's one hell of an amazing concept in my book. It's just too bad that we didn't have Jon Favreau back when Episode 9 was filming and how he couldn't really lend his voice, if you will, for that movie. If he could have back then, I think that the movie would have turned out to be different, for sure. And there's no doubt in my mind that if Jon Favreau was even involved in Star Wars, back when, they were doing the rewrites for Episode 9 after Colin was fired, I really do believe that they would have chosen Jon to direct and write Episode 9. There's no doubt about it. Given that this is the man that started the MCU with Iron Man 1 back in 2008, they would have done it in a heartbeat. And you can only imagine what Episode 9 would have looked like. So, I think that obviously Daisy Ridley getting replaced by Keira Knightley as Rey Skywalker, it makes sense. Keira Knightley has been in Star Wars after all. In case you guys did not know, she was in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So, I guess, Bob Chapek made a good decision, but some others out there may very well disagree with that, and that's perfectly fine and okay. So, like I've said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.